Welcome everyone to the Digital Marketing Masterclass discussion series. Our guest today is Becky Freemal. She's an accomplished author, keynote speaker, and fractional chief marketing officer. She is the founder of the Market Exec, a firm specializing in executive level growth strategy. Her new book, Brand Voice, People plus Data Drive Results, is set to be released on July 30th, 2024, and focuses on using data and storytelling to create compelling brand narratives. Welcome to the show, Becky.
Thank you for having me, guys. I am so looking forward to this conversation.
Nice. All right. Well, bring it. It's going to be fun.
Let's do it.
Thanks, Becky.
Yeah.
Well, Alex and I are all about people and data, so you're in a good home here.
Good.
Let's chat about how it relates to branding. Today's topic is developing and leveraging brand voice in marketing. Brand voice, obviously very important to get right. Many companies feel it is important. In fact, 75% of companies prioritize building brand awareness, and you can increase revenue by up to 23% through utilizing consistent brand presentation. A lot of people don't know that branding has that kind of impact to the bottom line. However, only 25% of companies have formal brand guidelines that they actively enforce. So obviously, very important to the bottom line is branding, but brands have a lot of work to do to put it into action. But fear not, our guest, Becky Freemal, is here to help. So Becky, in your opinion, what exactly is brand voice?
Brand voice is how your organization shows up in the world. It is how you represent yourself. It is so much more than a logo or brand colors. You know, the stats that you just shared are so wonderful, but I would like to even go one step further and tell you that I think a lot of people, a lot of organizations think that their brand and to be seen and all the stats you shared are their logo and are their colors and, you know, their brand position and what's our unique selling proposition and what's our value proposition. And sometimes I just want to be like, reel it in. You know what? Let's make this simple. It does not need to be that difficult. We just need to know who we are, what is our purpose, what is the product we're selling, and who are the people that need it so we can build that communication to get there. And a brand voice, these are the three key elements. And they seem simple, but there are some work to get there. But it needs to be genuine, it needs to be simple, and it needs to be consistent. If you have those three things, then you have a cohesive storyline, or a foundation, I should say, for all the storylines that stem, whether you're talking to your donors or investors or potential clients or internally with your team. It really brings your mission and your vision and your values to life, so they aren't sitting there collecting dust on some shelf. But so the brand voice is one aspect, but I would tell you the foundational aspect of your brand.
Wow, that's a lot to consider. If you're asking them to sort of start in a simple place, what could that look like so that it's not too overwhelming, do you think?
So this is where the people and the data really connect. I always would tell you to start at data. I think that is a wonderful place. And the data can be quantitative or qualitative. So, you know, you can do your NPS scores. You know, people do all the time from 0 to 10. How would you rate us? Would you tell people that you would return as a customer? And then a lot of times if you do the NPS score, you'll follow up with, like, you know, that open text box for the qualitative data and say, hey, just open-ended, tell us what you think about us. And that is where you can really start to get a good feel for the people who are paying attention to you and what they like and what they don't like, and really zero in on their story and how your story overlaps. Where are those Venn diagrams? Where are you reaching those people? What resonates with them? And then make it simple. You know, this is not acronym heaven. I mean, we live in a world of acronym heaven. Alphabet soup is everywhere. And an easy place to start is just to speak their language, just to say the words. Like, don't talk about your, I don't know, let's say that's something simple that everyone knows, ROI. Everyone knows ROI. But you know what? How hard is it to say return on investment? You know what I mean? And that's kind of a simplistic one, but there are some where people are trying so hard to outsmart the person. Like, look, you need me because I'm so smart. Guys, I have found, and I am sure you have too, the most intelligent, the smartest people I've ever met are the ones who speak in the most simplistic of terms. And it's because they know their material inside and out. They just know it, and they're not there to impress anyone. They just know their material so well that they know how to talk to the audience they're in front of. And it's not dumbing it down either, because you could be talking to an attorney and a doctor, very intelligent individuals, but very different industries. So one might not understand the acronyms of the other. So it's just speaking their language and using words. Stop with the acronyms.
So it sounds like you're saying to start almost with the market. And what is the market thinking about the brand as a starting place to see how much alignment is there between what the brand thinks their brand is and what the market thinks their brand is? If there's a big disconnect, that's going to be illustrative, just as it will be illustrative if there isn't a big disconnect.
Right. I mean, you know what your okay. Well, let me not assume that. You should know what your purpose is as an organization, and sometimes people do get lost along the way, especially an organization that's been around a little bit longer. I have found some people have lost their way from where they started. What was their initial purpose in starting this business? And hey, did you get away from it? And did it evolve away from it for a reason? Like, everything has to be very deliberate and intentional. And then, based on your purpose, is that target audience that you're looking for the same, or have they also evolved along with you? Or are you sitting here trying to talk to this market, but they've evolved long ago, and really you're kind of yelling out and screaming into the wind. There's no one there because they've kind of moved this way, and your purpose can also evolve that way. But it's just constantly keeping tabs on where people are and where you're at. Life happens, things evolve. You can't just say, oh, this is the way we've always done it, so this is the way we're going to keep doing it. Otherwise, you're going to be there all by yourself.
Yeah, we see that a lot with companies that are going through either they're kind of slowly tailoring off, tapering down in their business, or they're growing through a growth phase but think they can grow in the same way that they had in the past. Even like pre-COVID versus after COVID.
Oh, right. And that, I'm glad you just brought that up, because that reminds me, I'm getting way into like business school, and so sorry if I go too far down this, but S curves are the best thing that I have learned. And it's talking about how, on the XY axis, okay, you guys hang with me, I promise. So I'm going to bring this home. But, you're at the beginning and you're like, your startup, and then you start to be in the growth stage. And then eventually the S is because it starts to drop off because you're in a mature level and you're going to start bottoming out. And so they call it jumping the S curves, because there's a point in that maturity level that you have to innovate and you have to jump and get to the next S at the start stage and start again. I mean, and that process could be 100 years, an S curve can be as long or as short as possible. And COVID made a lot of people jump the S curve, like a lot. Think about all of the restaurants in the event industry and how many people did in-person conferences. And here we are right now digitally. I mean, this is something that everyone does all the time, every day. I've been on meetings. Yes. I've been sitting here on this Hollywood Square, not this very one, all day today. And 10 years ago, heck, 5 years ago, I'd been walking down the hall talking to people or going to lunches. We jumped the S curve as a society because of COVID.